Hello, my dear children. I know exams are coming up and you might be a little stressed. So today, let's take a deep breath and go through a really beautiful chapter together, the Sermon at Benares. Don't worry, we'll make it super simple, and by the end, you'll understand everything perfectly. I promise.
This story, it talks about something really big, something we all face at some point. That really difficult feeling, the pain of losing someone you love. It's tough, right? Well, this chapter gives us a way to understand it and maybe even find some peace.
Okay, so here's our little roadmap for today. First, we'll see how a prince became the Buddha. Then we'll meet Kisa Gotami and understand her deep sadness. We'll follow her on a special task, see what she learns from it, and then get to the Buddha's main lesson. And of course, at the end, we'll wrap up with the most important points for your exams. Ready? Let's jump right in.
All right, first things first. To really get what this sermon is about, we need to know the person who gave it. So, who was the Buddha? How did he become so wise?
So, can you imagine? He was born a prince, Siddhartha Gautama. For his whole childhood, up to age 25, he was completely shielded from anything sad. He never saw suffering. But then, one day, he stepped outside the palace walls and saw a sick person, an old person, and even a funeral. It was a huge shock. It affected him so deeply that he just left everything behind, his riches, his family, to go find an answer to why there is so much pain in the world.
Okay, now we meet the main character of our story, a woman named Kisa Gotami. And she was going through a terrible, terrible time.
What happened was, her only son had died, and in her sadness, her grief was so overwhelming, she just couldn't accept that he was gone. She was carrying his body from house to house, knocking on every door, just begging for some medicine to make him better. Of course, people thought she had gone mad from her sorrow. Then finally, someone saw her pain and told her, "Go to the Buddha. He is the wise one." And this is important, because the Buddha knew. He knew she didn't need medicine for her son. She needed medicine for her own heart.
So she goes to the Buddha, and he says something amazing. He says, "Yes, I can help you." And all he asks for seems so simple, a handful of mustard seeds. Can you imagine her relief? For the first time, she must have felt this little spark of hope, a little bit of joy.
But then came the condition. A very, very important condition. He told her the mustard seeds had to come from a house where no one had ever lost a loved one. Not a child, a husband, a parent, or a friend. Now listen closely, my dears, because this is the turning point of the whole chapter. This is the Buddha being a brilliant teacher, not just a preacher. He's setting her up for a real-life lesson.
Okay, quick pause. Let's think like we're in an exam. This could be a question, right? Why did the Buddha give her this task? It sounds a bit cruel, doesn't it? Giving a sad mother an impossible job? What do you think was his real reason? Just take a second and think about it.
Here's the thing. The Buddha was so wise. He knew that if he just told her, "Oh, everyone dies," it wouldn't mean anything to her in that moment of pain. She had to see it. She had to feel it for herself. So this task wasn't a trick. It was a practical lesson, a journey for her to discover the truth on her own.
So off she went. Kisa Gotami goes from door to door, still hopeful, asking for those mustard seeds. But what she finds out on this journey, it changes everything for her.
Imagine this. At the first house, they say, "Yes, of course, take some mustard seeds." But then she asks her question, "Has anyone died in this house?" And they look sad and say, "Oh yes." She goes to the next house, same story, and the next, and the next. Every single family had lost someone. People started telling her, "The living are few, but the dead are many." Her hope just started to fade.
Finally, she's just tired and hopeless. She sits down by the side of the road as it's getting dark, and she starts watching the lights of the city. You know how they flicker on one by one? They shine for a while, and then, poof, they go out again. And in that moment, watching those lights, she finally understood. It was like a big aha moment. Those lights were just like human lives.
And that's when it hit her. She thought, how selfish I have been in my grief. She realized that her pain, which felt so unique and so lonely, was actually something everyone, everywhere experiences. Death is common to all. She wasn't alone at all.
So when she went back to the Buddha, she was ready to listen. Her heart was open. And this, my dears, is the actual sermon. This is the main point of the whole chapter.
And look how beautifully he explains it. He doesn't use complicated words. He says our lives are like ripe fruits on a tree. They're always in danger of falling. Or like clay pots, you know they're eventually going to break. It's the same with our lives. All mortals have to face death. It's just a natural law.
And his message is very clear. Crying and grieving, it won't bring anyone back. In fact, he says it only makes our own pain worse. It makes our bodies suffer. It's like pouring salt on a wound instead of letting it heal.
So what's the solution? The Buddha gives us a path to peace. Step 1. Understand that death happens to everyone. You can't escape it. Step 2. Realize that just weeping makes the pain worse. Step 3. He says we have to draw out the arrow of sadness and complaint. And when we do that, when we become calm and composed, that's when we can find real peace of mind.
Okay, children, now for the most important part for your exams, I made a little table for you. This will make revising so easy. So focus now, okay?
Look at this. This table connects everything so nicely. See? The key idea that grief can make us blind, the example is Kisa looking for medicine for her dead son. The idea that death is universal, the example is every house she visited. This is basically your cheat sheet for the exam. Please, pause the screen here and really look at how each part of the story teaches a lesson. It's the best way to remember.
You know, this chapter isn't just about death. It's really about life. If our lives are like those flickering lights here for just a short time, shouldn't we make them as bright as possible? It's a reminder to be kind, to love, to make our time here meaningful. I really hope this helped you understand it better. All the best for your exams, my dears. I know you are going to do wonderfully.